Welcome to NWA Crockett Cup 2022. You didn't think I was going to do it, did you? Admittedly, I almost forgot. I have not been myself, guys, as if you've seen my Gump report on Scott Hall, unfortunately a friend of mine passed away, and I didn't know. And it was around the same time Scott Hall passed away because of complication to a hip replacement. It and it's not been easy for me. And then with the weather in New York where the humidity's been so high, all this hurts. All this hurts. I have allergy problems throughout the entire year, even with medicine, and I have not been myself. I have been frustrated, maybe a little depressed. There's no lie. So I almost forgot about the Crockett Cup, but I'm glad I watched it. Real tag team tournament. I don't know if I'm going to use that title. I might just use a real tournament, maybe. A good tournament. Maybe that might be the best title. A good tournament, because it was a good tournament. We have 14 teams in different seeds, going from seed 1 to seed 14. We got some wrestlers I've never seen before, some I've heard about but never watched. This is what it is for me. There are wrestlers I've never seen or heard of. There were wrestlers that I've heard of but never seen. There are wrestlers I've seen maybe once in a very long while, but I do remember them. And there are wrestlers I've seen constantly. So when you see this, you got a little bit of everything. Now, I don't know if anybody else is going to be glad to see the Blue Meanie, and I will be talking about him in a few minutes. But all around, it was not a bad tournament. Admittedly, and I got to say this, several things did not go well for me. Camera work, they were trying hard to make this special. So they were doing this. Now, as you know, as I've said, there are people at home who need to see what's going on. I think it was like $40 to get to see the Crockett Cup. Can't remember. But the point is, when you're at home, and I know there's going to be people say, well, I saw it. It wasn't too bad. I'm sorry. We're not talking about you. We're not talking about me. I say this again. Hundreds or thousands of people watch pay-per-view, and they want their money's worth. Seeing this and saying, well, half the time is all right. No. There's a reason why people like to stream, okay? Forget about you. Forget about me. Think about everyone else who wants to see the picture like this. So that's what you get. Now, mind you, the camera work was not great, but you could still see the show, so I encourage you to watch it if you can watch it, okay? How can I say this? The second thing that for me might have been an issue was to the fact that at the end, when it was all said and done, I believe I caught Billy Corgan and Joe Galli. If it's there, it's in my face. When the show was over, Billy decided to do commentary with Joe Galli afterward, talking about what's about to happen after this show, night 1, going into night 2. I think would have been better is a video package. Not having Billy sit there and try to commentate and botch his words. Look, I understand. The guy isn't like he's an actor. He's not a wrestler. He is a promoter. Yes, he worked in TNA before the switch to Impact Wrestling, and he tried to be a character. And to a certain extent, he did do an okay job. But he's not good for that. I wish he had not done that. I wish they had done another video package of what's going to happen on night 2 of the Crockett Cup. But taking away from that, that was the only gripe I had. The audio was good. Yeah, the camera work wasn't very good. The lighting wasn't bad at all. We got to hear a decent amount of people. It wasn't really loud. Let's be honest, they weren't usually loud. But it was something you could watch. Now, kickoff show. I will go through these quickly. I did watch them to a certain extent. I was going back and forth doing certain things. So I saw most of each match. First match, you had Captain Yuma versus Magic Jack. Well, I'll say it almost Magic Jake. Magic Jack. It's Magic Jake. The guy who comes out with a cigarette in his mouth. This is a question of what they're going to do with the ill-begotten now that it looked like Plunkett has decided to take over. I'll explain what I mean when the Ill Begotten match happens. But Plunkett, along with members of Ill Begotten, once Yuma lost, he didn't do that bad. Yuma is kind of like a joke character, but it doesn't mean he can't wrestle. He got his butt kicked, and the Ill Begotten left him behind. Just gone. They didn't want to deal with him anymore. So you wonder, how long is it going to be before Plunkett not only takes over, but then he's going to do something to Captain Yuma, which I'll explain when the Ill Begotten match comes, because there's something that does happen. Now, the first round of the Crockett Cup actually happened on the kickoff show. They actually had a match. Now, I got to say, the Fixers did go up against OCK weeks ago during Power Trip, because I do remember the match, and the Fixers won, so they did not need to have a first round here. They had weeks to rest, and they also got seen later in the night. So this was about the Now versus the Briscoe brothers. Now, this was, which one was the Briscoes? Oh, I forgot what the number was for the Now. Now, the Briscoe brothers, they were, I can't remember what number they were. I'll give it to you like this. I don't remember their number. I think their number was what? It was, that is the second last in the match. They were a number 2 seed. There you go. The Briscoes was a number 2 seed, and I think the Now was a number 3 seed. I can't exactly remember, but they did have a match. Now, I'm skipping around because I know I got to do the triple threat, and I will talk about, no, the Fatal 4-Way, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the first seed was a good match, and the Now looked pretty good. But this was the Briscoes, so we know they're going to kick their ass, and they did. And I was glad to see the Briscoes there. And they did have a nice talk briefly about how they're going to win the whole damn thing. So that's how it felt. Now, the Fatal 4-Way, and this is a tag match. This is a Fatal 4-Way tag match, 4 teams. We had VIF, which is Violence is Forever. The Tate Twins, and I believe they're called the Bad Boys. Now, they did win the match, and they went into the Crockett Cup, just like the Briscoes did. I believe the Briscoes also. No, not the Briscoes also. I'm sorry. It's hard to keep track of all this. It got a lot here, guys. So if I botch, I'm sorry. But also, the Rip City, no, wait a minute. Let me give it to you like this. I recognize the Heat Seekers. That's why I'm botching. But I never really liked them that much. Then you look at the Rip City Shot. That tag team looked more interesting than the Heat Seekers. Not saying the Heat Seekers are bad. It's just I barely saw them. And I wasn't too interested because when they were there, they were gone after a short amount of time. So I never got a chance to got really interested in them really good. And then I forgot about them until I saw them again here. And finally, the last team, that's it. That's generally it. And we already know the Bad Boys, which is the Tate Twins, did win the match. So it's understandable. They had a good look, and I didn't mind them. Now, let's move on to the first, I think maybe let me see. Should I do that match first, or should I do the next one? You know what? Let me do the Pope versus Cardonas first. Now, this is the second match on the main card. I'm skipping around. But you wonder what's going to happen with Mims and Pope because they really did look very good. I'm not surprised about VSK working with Mike Knox. There's no problem. I'm not surprised. And when it came down to it, seeing that this is the number 11 seed versus number 6 seed. That's Mike Knox and VSK, which is the number 11 seed, versus the Pope and Mims, which was number 6. I'll say that I really did like the Pope and Mims working together. I kind of wish they had won because I kind of wanted to see them go a little further, but I understand that Cardonas is there because of what's going on with Matt Cardona being champ. Now, the End versus the Hawk Airy. Ari, I always mispronounce the last part, of Luke and PJ Hawk. Now, this is interesting. You wonder what's going on between Peril and Odinson, because Peril just looks like he wanted to rip someone's head off, and Odinson is the one who's trying to convince him, hey, calm down, you had your shot. Let it go. You wonder what the hell was that all about? Now, for me personally, I didn't see the last episode last week. I didn't see it because of what was going on with Revolution and what was going on with No Surrender. No, not No Surrender. I'm getting No Surrender mixed up with Sacrifice. Sorry, there's been a lot of shows I've been doing, guys. Sacrifice and the Revolution, I watched them both. There was no way I could see Power Trip in USA. I never got a chance to see it, so I didn't know what happened. So whatever happened with Peril, it had to be from there in Power Trip. So I didn't see it. So I don't know what happened. Whatever happened must have been something that really pissed him off to the point where Odinson would have to tell him to stop, and he had to start the match because Peril usually starts the match. And pretty much, you did get the Hawks winning. Peril basically nails Luke and gives him a concussion. And then you're going to see PJ by himself going to the next match by himself because that's what he said he wanted to do. Now, the next match, you had Stevens and, well, let me put it to you like this. This was the joke of the night. This is where the funny part came in the tournament. You know they always throw some fun things in a tournament. They don't always make it so serious that to the point it sucks. Now, mind you, in New Japan Pro Wrestling, they probably are very serious about their tournaments. But here in America, there's always going to be at least one part of a tournament that's going to be funny. And in this case, we had the Dirty Sexy Dogs versus Stevens, but no Kratos. Kratos couldn't show up. So he basically calls in the blue guy. And I'm wearing, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I'm wearing blue with blue. And I'm talking about the blue guy, the blue mini. Oh my gosh. I just mean myself. Damn it. I didn't notice. I didn't think about it. But laugh. Go ahead, laugh. I am laughing. The blue meanie. I hadn't seen him in a while. The last time I saw him was on WWE TV doing some special with Davey Richard. No, Steven Richards. Stevie Richards, sorry. Stevie Richards. That's the last time I saw him, and that was years ago. So I've not seen him for quite a while. And you can see that the boy's gotten bigger. The boy's gotten... it's weaker than me, and I'm weak. This was meant to be fun. That's what this all was about. And I gotta say this about Velvet Sky. I know not everyone likes Velvet. And I'm gonna be honest. She can get on my nerves sometimes. But here in the tournament, she was funny to a certain extent. And very, very outspoken and loud. Did she talk over Joe and Tim Storm? Yes. And I wasn't too fond of it. But it's not like she does it often. So, seeing that she was very spoken, going with a character, it's fine. It doesn't mean she's going to go in the ring. I think she's permanently retired from wrestling. And surprisingly, she's still got that shot against Camille. Is she ever going to go for it? I'm wondering. But still, this is what you get. And the Dirty Sexy Dogs win. I am not surprised. They were, let me see, the Dirty Sexy Dogs was seed 7, and Stevens with the blue meanie was seed 10. Admittedly, seeing these two seeds together, I kind of wish the Ill Begotten had gone up against Stevens and Blue Meanie. Even though the Dirty Sexy Boys were funny, I kind of wanted to see what the Ill Begotten was going to do with them if Captain Yuta had not been ejected by his own team. Now, Strictly Business versus Gold Rush of the Marche Rocket and the Clearwater. We got Black G's out there. We also had a little bit of the Tyrus. Surprisingly, a little more peppy. In other words, he was trying to be a leader. Tyrus being a leader, he hasn't been a leader. He's been basically doing whatever the hell he wanted, but he's never really tried to lead. That's always been on the Austin Idol of Idol Sports Incorporated. I always forget it. Idol Sports Mania. Was this a good match? I'll give it to you like this. I was surprised to see Strictly Business look like the good guys here. Honestly, well, at least for me. Anyone else would say, well, Gold Rush were the good guys here. Or better yet, there were no good guys because you had two bad guys. You got Strictly Business who were bad guys. You got Gold Rush who were bad guys. But always, guys, there's always a point where one of the two bad guys become kind of good. And it was Strictly Business to me personally. The opening, since the Clearwater, the Golden Boy wanted to show off, you got him put into the damn mask. I don't know if I got the shot. I will put it in my face. You got him put into the master lock. I don't know why I said master lock. The master lock, I'm a botcher. Was it a good part to do? Yes. And you wonder why didn't they just ring the bell and it would have been over? No, they had to drag it out. For me personally, I would have liked to see Strictly Business go further than they were. But it was what it was. Strictly Business lost because, let's be honest, Gold Rush cheated. They cheated to win because Tyrus interfered and they got what they wanted. But you wonder for a moment, you see Gold Rush being the heels and this level of Strictly Business being faces. What would happen if they actually switched? Do I believe it will ever happen? Maybe, but not now. Not going to happen. Next. Oh, and that's number 1, 2, 3, 4. That was seed 5 for Strictly Business. And I believe seed 12 for Gold Rush. I could be wrong. Oh no, I think I am wrong. Which one is that? 1, 2, 3. I think I messed up on some of the numbers, so I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember the seeds, but it's very difficult. It's so messy. I do believe the Nets. I think I got the seeds mixed up. I really do believe I got the seeds mixed up. But you got the Ill Begotten versus Doug Williams and Harry Smith. Whoa. Very interesting. I haven't seen David Hart Smith, as he was known in WWE, in a while. Now, I did hear that he returned to WWE and only been there for less than 6 months, and they let his ass go. Well, he got what he wanted. He wanted to go back. He spent some time there, and then he's gone. But seeing him with Doug Williams was actually quite interesting. A very good catch-cam wrestler in Doug Williams. Yes, he's in my age bracket, a little bit older. And you see David Hart Smith, who's known to be a good wrestler. And he looks like he's trimmed himself down. He used to be a lot more bulky. He looks like he got trimmed down a little bit. He looked really good. And I'm not surprised that the Commonwealth Connection. Why? Why couldn't you just call them the Commonwealth? I would like to call them the Commonwealth, not the Commonwealth Collection. Connection. I am calling them the Commonwealth from this moment on in this review. They're called the Commonwealth. I don't like the Commonwealth Connection. Why are you trying to put The Rock and the Mankind, the McFoley little stick together? Couldn't you just be what you are? You got Canada, you got Europe, you got Britain. Stick them together. Be the way you are. Be proud of what you are. That's just me. Let's move on. The Bad Boys versus El Rebellion, the tag champs. Now, when it comes to the Beastel and the Mega Wolf, having two titles, the old NWA titles and the new ones, what are they going to do with those titles? When are they going to actually get rid of them? Or are they holding both titles and waiting for a certain moment where you're going to have the old tag titles on USA and you keep the new titles on Power? Are they going to do that? I wonder if they're going to do that. I don't think it's the wisest thing to do, but since you got both sets of titles, kind of like what's going on with AEW having the interim title and the TNT title, what are you doing with both titles? Why don't you just combine them both as it's supposed to be? One is gone, one's kept, and just move on. I have this feeling that that interim title is going to get transformed into something else. That's what I think is going to happen. And that's what I think is happening with Rebellion, that they have the older tag titles, not just because It's just for fun. I think they're going to transition them over to USA and change them into something else. Maybe the NWA USA tag titles? You never know. Now, did they have a good match? Yeah, it was pretty good. The Tate brothers are not bad. They did beat them. And I'm not surprised. They are the tag champions. They're supposed to get beat. That's just the way it's supposed to be. You can't make it be what it's not, guys. So I hope you accept it, if you like them or not. Now, we're going to the semifinals. And that is the Fixers versus the Cardonas. And that is, I can't remember which seed number it is. Wait a minute, there's 1, 2, 3, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is seed 14 for the Dirty Sexy. No, whoa. Sorry, I'm getting it mixed up. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is seed 14 for the Fixers and seed 11 for the Cardonas. I'm sorry if I'm getting a little confused. There's a lot of numbers I'm trying to keep track of, guys. But was it a good match? VSK did a decent job, guys. You wonder if VSK, let me put it to you like this. VSK has been on Impact Wrestling for a while. We haven't seen him for a bit because he hasn't been in any of the tapings. Ziggy Dice is there. I don't know if VSK is still with Impact. He might not be. That might have just been, as I've always said, you got guys who will be on shows for maybe a couple months, maybe a few weeks of tapings. They get paid for those tapings, and they're gone. So VSK might be finished. He's no longer in Impact Wrestling because he was never signed there, even though he probably is still part of the roster on the damn website, because you never know when they'll bring him back, let him get paid for some tapings again, and then he disappears, because that's what the MO of Impact Wrestling is, and most other promotions as well. But he looked really good. And in the end, you did get the Cardonas winning. I am not surprised that they did a decent job. I was surprised. Not at all. There was no way the Fixers was going to work. Wrecking Ball coming out with Cookie Crisp and making Velvet Sky hungry. You don't make a beautiful Polish Italian hungry. She is Polish Italian. Sexy Polish Italian who got freaking hungry because she wanted Cookie Crisp. Bullet Ray, feed your woman. Feed her. She's willing to take cookies from Wrecking Ball of the Fixers. That means you're not taking care of your woman. Make sure she got Cookie Crisp at her table so she'll never have a problem. Act like you're her man. I'm just saying. But it wasn't a bad match. VSK looked good and the Fixers move on. Now, match 2, the Briscoes versus the Dirty Sexy Boys. Now, this was no joke. This was a damn good match for me personally. Seeing JTG working with the Fixers, that means some, not Fixers. Working with the Briscoes, my mistake. Seeing him work with the Briscoes is a good thing. I saw some really nice work when JTG was working with the Briscoes. Now, when it comes to a Dirty Dango, he's not a bad wrestler. He's a funny character. When he's interested in really doing work, he can do it. Now, I'm sure many people say that Dirty Dango sucks. For me personally, he's a good mid-card wrestler that when he's pushed and needs to be an uppercarder to near main eventer, he can go there. JTG can easily be a mid-card that can be pushed up near the main event. They're both pretty much the same. That's just in my perspective, my humble perspective. Johnny Curtis got skill. JTG got skill. Can they box their asses off? Yes, they can. And there was a little botching in the match, but it was still damn good with the Briscoes. And I wasn't surprised the Briscoes won. The Briscoes had to win because it's the damn Briscoes, from what I understand, because I never really watched the Briscoes until I saw them in GCW, seen them here, and there you go. There's nothing wrong with them. I don't hate the Briscoes. It's just I haven't seen a lot of their work. I'm just saying. Now let's move on to the third semifinal match. La Rebellion versus PJ Hawk by himself. This was a good showing for PJ Hawk by himself. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people are going to say he's too small and he shouldn't have been able to keep up with them. Look, the guy is an amateur champion from, I don't remember which state he's from, but he's an amateur champion. It's not like he didn't show some level of amateur wrestling during this match. That's what he generally went to. That was most of his bread and butter. And I know not everybody's going to be fond of that. They want to see pro wrestling, not total amateur wrestling. He didn't go all amateur. Out of 100%, he did at least 65% of showing some level of amateur wrestling. Not total. It's a mix between some amateur and some theatrical pro wrestling. Let's be honest, that's what it is. But it still looked good. He did a good showing. And this is not the first time he's done this where he had to go off on his own and wrestle on his own. I'm sure Luke is so happy that his son has been put in a prominent spot near the end of the show, and he performed very well. Do I believe he's going to be good on his own? Well, it's going to depend on what he's going to do with his look. Look, he's not a big guy. He's not this. He's not like this. But he's going to have to make a decision sooner or later what he's going to look like. He still looks like his dad in his rig attire. Not attire. Attire. My throat is still messed up. Oh, man, my allergies are killing me. I took medicine and I still feel sick. The humidity in New York is 80-something%. It was 91 this morning to afternoon. I think it's like 70%, and I'm still screwed up. But anyway, he's going to need to make a change. He's going to have to change his ring attire. He may have to work out a little bit more to try and give him something that's going to make him more presentable to different promotions, because having his frame the way it is not 100% bad, but changing himself a little bit could help make him more marketable. He also has to learn how to talk. Doing straight up wrestling is not going to fly everywhere. No matter how much you say, how much they say on all the other podcasts, you must have something. You got to have a certain look, certain charisma, certain talking, and in-ring work. You can't just make it all about in-ring work, because sooner or later when you have to do it, like Jungle Boy, who has a pretty good look, but he couldn't talk his ass out of a damn paper bag, he's forced now to start talking. All that time before, he refused to talk. He was too scared. Now he's being forced to start trying to be better. Now, after nearly 3 years, he's now forced. Either he chose or they tell him you need to start talking or you're going to lose your spot. I'm just saying. Final match will be Gold Rush versus the Commonwealth. I kind of hope they're going to show up on Power or USA. I don't care which one. Power USA, I want to see David Hart Smith with his new partner, at least for the moment, Doug Williams. Was it a good match? You get to see the weakness of Clearwater. He's a decent wrestler, but he's no match for David Hart Smith or Doug Williams. Marshe Rockett was also right too, but he's no match for either one of them. You got one who knows catch-cam wrestling, and another one who went through the damn dungeon. Grew up there, went through the damn dungeon. So there's no way either one of them was going to look perfect next to either one of them. But it was still a good match. And in the end, I wasn't surprised that the Commonwealth won. Now, we only have 4 teams left. It's going to be La Rebellion versus the Commonwealth. The Cardonas versus the Briscoes. That's night 2. That's what we're getting. So what was this? Was it a good show? Yeah. It wasn't perfect. Camera work was, for some stupid reason, they think when it's something special, they got to do this most of the time. And it's dumb. Leave the camera wide for everybody to see. They were doing pretty well in the very beginning of the show, and then they just started going like this. And then they went like this. And then they finally figured out by near the end of the show. They tend to forget. People at home want to see what the hell is going on. And hearing someone I'm going to hear it in the comments, well, I saw it, I didn't mind it. Yeah, it was a little annoying. Don't think it's about you. There are people who paid money just like you that probably want to see it like this and see everything, and not most of the time see it like this. It doesn't matter if me and you care about that. It's about the wider audience seeing the business. And that's just me, and I hope you enjoyed the Zane View. Please give me a comment below. You will see night 2 tomorrow. Peace.